Olympia boys, I could do the Nelson.
Welcome to KG5 for this Lakoseljac Cup triple header. A massive footballing feast headed your way today. Starting with the first match in the first quarter-final of the Laka Cup. Olympia FC Warriors taking on Nelson. A real David and Goliath type battle this one. Joining me to talk and just utter some nonsense along through this one with me, Jake
Big on the nonsense.
Morgan. Welcome, Jake.
Yeah, and it's fantastic to be here, and I think you're absolutely right to frame this one as a battle of David and Goliath. We can see that Olympia are top of the Premier League table at the moment. Nelson,
mid-table, they've improved a lot. I mean, last year, comfortably last place, massive goals against. They've turned things around beautifully, Nelson. They've really got their act together, and that's why they find themselves in the quarter-final this year.
And I think we'll certainly be needing a big game from a few of their players. The experienced Adam Mills down there. Expecting a lot from Andrew Gaskell, who people in our community have heard a lot from.
Yes, another famous man. As we're going through the teams here, this Olympia Warriors, number 14, Jack Callan getting a start. I'd expect, looking at that team sheet, he'll line up at right back, probably with Van der May in the middle of defence. He's been playing fullback of late. In goals will be number 1, Jacob Cole, in super form at the moment. He's proved his worth over the last few weeks. The veteran, the old stager, Shay Hickey, just sliding back into a midfield role. Looking forward to watching him play a full match. He's been limited in his role this year, largely due to number 15, Mark the Business Altman, who's come in and just assumed his role. Very impressive young player. Number 6, Nicholas Mearns, is working his way back nicely into the season after a bit of an injury layoff. Number 11, Joel Samet, he's been in super form, the fullback, really doing some nice things there, deputising for Sam Conway. Number 13, Hugh Undy, playing out on the left, has scored a number of goals and chalked up plenty of assists this year. On the opposite flank, you'd expect to see Warren Wadawu, who made his return on Anzac Day. Jake Van der May, as I mentioned, you'd expect to see as a centre half, playing with Tommy Little, I would expect. And then up top, leading the line, the Czech striker, Jakub Sklenar.
And hasn't he been an interesting acquisition for Olympia?
He is pure class and someone they're going to have to watch out the back. On the bench, Bellini, Cartwright, Hill. And we'll move along to the Nelson lineup.
And just beginning with young number 19, Jordan Bragella. We have number 20, Connor Brownless. Number 1, Nicholas de Carpenter. Jesus, as we've been calling him here today, the Carpenter, and we're going to need a miraculous performance from the boy, or perhaps just a good amount of lumber to whack up in front of his goal pretty quickly, because he might be under siege here today. We have number 6, Andrew Gaskell, the survivor. There's plenty of media coverage about this young man during a recent trip to Malaysia, but it's fantastic to see him fit and well and playing today. His brother, Ben Gaskell,
smooth criminal.
Smooth criminal, Colin Jackson, the self-appointed smooth criminal. And isn't it good to see a man that can have a bit of fun with his own nicknames? We have Tom McKernan, Adam Mills, very experienced head for this Nelson team. School teacher, carries a bit of authority within the ranks, and you'd be expecting him to organise his boys and tell them what they do. We have young Angus O'Meara, Nicholas Roberts, and young William Stalker too, expecting good things from these boys out here today. On the bench for Nelson, we have Luke Batchelor, Oliver Burden, Troy Hoppert, Brad Knott, and Nathan Wardle, just as we have to accelerate through those names because we are just about to get underway here at KG5.
And looking forward to this one, Adam Mills, just the real throwback here, the playing coach, absolutely love it. And looking forward to seeing what he can do. His deputy, Ethan Brigella, just on the sidelines barking out the instructions today. Big audition for the top job perhaps for him. Let's see how they go against this very good Warriors side. We're underway with Nelson kicking off here as this triple header from KG5 begins. Sklenar immediately looking to press there at the back.
Early tips here today, Andrew?
Oh, I'd love a plucky underdog performance here from Nelson, but I just think that the Warriors have got a bit too much about them. 5-0 for mine. And yourself, Jake?
1-0 to Nelson.
Oh,
We love the magic of the cup here at Slice of Cheese, and I can just see the underdogs doing it today.
As that one goes straight out of play here. I think you can expect Nelson just to park plenty of bodies behind the ball. They usually play a back four with a couple of holding midfielders in front of them. Will that be the case today as Joel Samet gets on the ball, slides in the middle. Mearns will just be looking to do his best work in between the midfield and defensive lines of Nelson. Just someone who can pop up in those gaps and make things happen.
Looks like Nelson have gone with the 4-1-4-1 today, just in the early periods when they haven't had possession. An interesting choice from them, actually. I really like that strategy because it worked so well for South Hobart when they defeated Olympia in the opening game of the NPL season, with Loic Farrell coming on at half-time and doing that job in front of his defence very nicely. So perhaps the Nelson boys were aware to that result, and they seem to have been opting to go the same route.
Well, I know they scouted out the Anzac Day clash. Try and get some ideas of how to beat him. A long free kick taken forward there by the former Lion, Will Stalker, now plying his trade with Nelson. A little slip there, and Brigella sweeps across and gets on the ball. He's dispossessed by the business. Oh, dicey back pass there, almost lets into a Darwood, but safety first, which I think we'll see the approach from Nelson today. He's whacked into touch.
Yeah, I do think that despite lining up in that formation, they've been quite brave to push their lineup this high early on, because they're certainly leaving the space in behind for players like Andy, Vandermeer and Wadawu to exploit.
So here now charging forward is the Italian stallion Brigella. Sent it forward in the Colin Jackson direction. He was the goal scoring hero in the last stage of the competition, scoring a goal shortly after half time. From there they held on against Rangers and secured that famous win that has them through to the quarter-final stage. Warriors in possession here, Mearns with it. He's pressured, so he sends it out wide to Hugh Undy. Undy driving inside, then back he goes to Joel Samet. Oh, the experienced customer there, Hickeys, turned it over. The smooth criminal went flying in there with a big challenge and hauled it away. Mearns lurking, seen away from him. Won fairly as Brigella
He did not
carries
hold
out.
back in the smooth criminal, did he? And I just suspect that he may have clipped a little bit of the man before he got to the ball there, but
Jackson
play on.
Storming up to impose himself upon Cole.
Oh, and we like to see that here. We always want to see the goalkeepers put under a bit of pressure.
Good work there by Action Jackson as this one's worked forward. Will be easily picked up by Jesus. He's going to heave this one. Not his best work there.
Yeah, not quite walking on water so far.
No, not quite. As Hickey swings this one out wide to the business. Ortman chips inside to Mearns. He flips one over the top with Dawu, who'd already straight offside though. And behind it goes. Nelson looking comfortable in defence in the early exchanges. Just sitting back nicely, looking a well-organised unit. We have a look at Gaskell coming in there. That was a little bit criminal. Got away with it though. Like a real smooth criminal would.
Maybe rough criminal, perhaps.
Oh, look, he got away with it. As this one goes into the middle of the park, straight to an Olympia player though, as the business picks it up, flips it over the top for Andy, who's in behind here, hits it first time. It was a tepid effort though. Straight up, couldn't get to it, and I don't know if it was a cross or a shot, but no threat done there. As playing out from the back is Stalker to the player coach Mills. Driving it down the line. O'Meara flips it through. Here's Gaskell. Oh, Jinx inside nicely there, the smooth criminal, then chips it in the middle. Couldn't pick out Jackson with his ball. It's a sharp counter-attack there from Nelson, and you think that's going to be the best avenue to goal today.
Yeah, nice little piece of control from young Angus O'Meara too, to just play Gaskell through. And they're really going to rely on that young boy a lot out there today, so hopefully he can put in a performance, just as Mills gets the interception but can't quite control the ball. Plays it back to Stalker, who looks upfield, plays to O'Mara, but Cole is quickly off his line to collect. Just a reasonably steady start here from both teams, with Nelson actually probably enjoying the better of the positioning on the pitch so far without having much of the ball, but they're pressing hard here, and you really need to do that in the cup if you're going to get a result out there against a team the quality of Olympia.
Interesting that Tommy Little lining up at fullback and Jack Callan, essentially that was delightful from Undy, but has to go back and get it. Stalker tied to him, Mearns threads it back through, just a little bit overhit, but Undy will track this one down. He crosses and behind it goes off of McKernan for a corner. A lovely piece of skill that in full flight there, Undy. Unfortunately his second touch didn't quite have the same quality, he had to track it back, but he's been a man in fine form this season, Hugh Undy. He's made things happen. And he's got this corner to swing in now. Near post through a sea of bodies. Got to deal with this. Eventually Jackson gets up and they do just that. Out after that now is Brownless. Tried to play it off with Callan, who works it into an offside with Darwood, and that will kill that.
And aren't we privileged today in the glorious sunshine to see that mullet flowing up and down that flank. Brilliant call from the linesman there. Really like this bloke's work.
Jesus to take the goal kick. Over there to his teammate, worked it forward there to Jackson. Gaskell worked it back there to Roberts. They've turned it over at the back here. Can the Warriors make them pay? Warren Wadawu on. He's got Undy in the middle. Instead cuts back to Schlenner. He retreats further back to the business. Swinging him, but away by Mills. It was forward by Altman. Amira worked it to Brigella, to Gaskell. Poor end product there from the smooth criminal. Undy into the middle for Hickey. Was pressed by Jackson. And O'Meara working tirelessly up top at the moment. Here's Schlenner. Now with Dawu. He's got an overlapping Tommy Little. They work it to Mearns, laid it back off with Dawu. Fancy football, slightly overhit. Jesus comes out, doesn't collect. But they'll get away with it. And Stalker carries out a defence.
Hasn't looked too confident early on here. Jesus de Carpenter in the goal, but yet to be breached.
Burns works it back to Hickey. That key midfield partnership of their title winning side of a couple of seasons ago, reunited today. Vandermeer was a centre back that season. Hickey works it forward to Mearns. He turns. He's surrounded by Nelson bodies though. Gaskell whacks it off him, but it lands into the path of the business. Vandermeer forward. Broken up nicely there though by McKernan. Chips it forward looking for O'Meara. But in control at the back at the moment, the Warriors defence. Callan gets on it. Samet to Vandermeer. As ever dropping deep to receive is Hickey. Schlenner turning sharply. Sliding well with Stalker.
Lovely challenge. Truly lovely challenge there from William Stalker, because could have been in a world of bother there, but got in nicely. Cleanly won the ball.
Here's the business. O'Meara forward. He gets the ball now, O'Meara, and works it back. Smashed there by Mills. Couldn't quite pick out Jackson. And across comes Tommy Little.
Yeah, with Nelson just content to see that one out for the goal kick. Fairly balanced game so far, with just as the game's drawn on, you're starting to see Olympia take control a little bit more, as we expected to see in the beginning of the game. Looking particularly threatening out here on this left-hand side, and really think that Stalker's going to have his hands full for the duration of this game today. That's another poor goal kick, unfortunately, from Jesus de Carpenter, intercepted by Wadawu, and a beautiful save. Recovers well there, Jesus de Carpenter, and he certainly needed a miracle there after that error on the goal kick.
Yeah, Jesus saves. He did well to deny him, as this one is smashed forward over the top. It was sloppy distribution from the back though. It's a couple of times they've got themselves in trouble there. Not punished on this occasion, I think. That was probably the first shot and anger of the game, was it, Wigo? Yes, it was. The first real moment in this quarter-final as the Warriors. But well saved as Altman goes back to Cole. He plays it in there to Callan. Crisp pass to Schlenner as Some fine link-up work does the Czech front man, a big feature of his game. He can't get on the end of this Wadawi ball. It's broken up. And Brownless leads out. Now the smooth criminal to his coach, Mills. And he went back looking for the survivor, but couldn't quite find him. And Stalker loses it out there to Mearns, who quickly takes the throw looking for Undy. Just tried to flick it over the top there of McKernan.
Quick to respond there, the centre-back McKernan, and got out well just as Stalker got himself caught a little bit further up the field. As we have a look at the replay here, the interception from Wadawu.
Good ball too.
And Jesus does save, Andrew. It's a marvellous call from you there.
Some delay here before the Warriors allowed to take their throw. O'Meara.
I think the ref was just letting us have the duration of the replay there. Very kind stuff from the man in orange.
Brownless trotting off to get some running repairs. Mearns looks to carry forward, but he's robbed there by Stalker. Chipping in looking for Gaskell, just overhit the return pass. You can see what Nelson are trying to do on the counter-attack. We've got a pretty mobile front three. On it back here through Gaskell. Just
used his shoulder well there.
Just putting it in there on Altman. Turned over though by the Italian stallion in midfield. Vandermeer. Here's Samet. Allowed to drive forward. And looks it to Undy. Gets onto his preferred right foot, still going. Then plays a lovely little ball towards Sklenna. 1-0 clinical finish from the Czech striker. To give him an inch to attack a mile, and Jacob Sklenna has the Warriors off and running.
Oh, and he's just belted that into the top right corner. Isn't that just a marvellous finish? They say Jesus is capable of miracles, but I don't know if he's capable of a miracle of stopping a shot like that. Just marvellous stuff from the Czech striker there. So we just see Undy check inside, plays a beautiful ball through, clearly onside, and just look at that for a finish. Yeah. No chance for the keeper.
Probably the most clinical finisher in the state at the moment. And he has shown again why there with an early goal in this one. Jacob Sklenna. Undy just allowed to run at the defence. They finally jumped in at him and he dragged the defender out of position and they slid it in behind.
They've just destroyed my tip.
Yeah, fair to say it won't be 1-0. Nelson though they'll get a free kick there as Jackson's bundled over by Little. And I wonder if they'll look to throw him in forward here from set pieces.
Certainly the big unit. Brigella looks to be making his way up there. It just seems at the moment... No, there we do have the other centre-back heading up just now.
No Lucas Hill in this.
No, a little bit of a shorter Olympia defence, so they'd be hoping to take advantage of this.
No Hill or Stevens, so they're not going to do much with delivery like that, however, as it's picked up there in the middle by the survivor Gaskell, works it across to his brother. He shields the ball from Little and turned it to his brother again. While they're playing in the backyard, those two at the moment. It's worked inside nicely here, flicked through. Jackson couldn't quite get there. Looked like they just unlocked the Olympia defence. I think the offside flag had gone up anyway though. And that will be that, but nice little interplay around the box there.
Yeah, I certainly was a little bit surprised that Jackson just let that ball go, but did miss the reaction of the linesman on the far side. Always good in the cup though when you get a goal early. It certainly just forces one of the teams to have a bit of a go at the other, and we don't certainly see as much defensive football throughout the duration of the 90, but we've got a big overlap here on the left-hand side for Olympia at the moment, but just a little bit sloppy with the passing, which allows Stalker to belt the ball out of play.
Two balls on the pitch at the moment. Hickey's got the one that matters. He flicked it back to the Biz. Now back to the defence. Olympia will be very happy to have scored early in this one. Going to make things very difficult. Altman with a searching ball over the top. Well cut out there by Brownless. Smashed forward by Jackson. Vandermeer waits. Samet immediately pressed and he's turned it over here to the smooth criminal. He worked it to the player coach who fed it down the line looking for O'Meara, but Vandermeer on hand to play it back to his keeper. Lovely day here at KG5 for this massive triple header. Coming live to you all day. It should be a footballing feast. At the moment, the Warriors have started off in a very positive fashion to lead 1-0 through 15 minutes. Nelson looking to get the ball back, but just knocking it around comfortably at the moment. Olympia. Here's Schlenner, the goal scorer. He sights inside, knocks it past Gaskell into Mearns in acres of space, who missed the return ball to Schlenner. It opened him up at the back, and Mearns puts his hands to the head. He knows he missed a fairly good chance to make it 2-0 there. Fair to say, I think Schlenner was burying this if he got on the end of it.
Yeah, I just think that if it's 0-0, Schlenner perhaps latches onto that one.
Well, lovely work here from Action Jackson up top. He's barging through, but the business just got in there and broke it up. That's what he does so well.
Yeah, I've certainly been impressed with Ortman today. He's really knocked the ball around the park well, and after that opening 5 minutes where Nelson had the benefit of the positioning, he certainly controlled the game well. Just, there we go, spreading the passes just like that.
Played in Little, who worked it to Hickey. Sliding in was Gaskell to see it away from him. And then Nelson just smashed it forward.
No real clear chances at this stage of the game for Nelson, but as we've raised before, they've certainly got a very mobile front three who are working quite hard out there.
Yeah, and certainly the two Gaskell brothers in midfield, very athletic and dynamic players who can get up and back and join in on those counter-attacks too. Ben Gaskell certainly pushing on so far in this one. Schlenner turns with it, works it to Wadawu. Warren Wadawu inside. It's broken up. The survivor works it out there to Jackson. Has a look and then sets it out into the path of Mills, but Samet had tracked inside and knocks it back to Cole.
Very casually there too, Samet.
And they've turned it over here. Gaskell couldn't pick out O'Meara there with his pass. Here's Undy. Pressured by Stalker. Now back to Callan. He releases Little. Tommy Little charging forward, plays it to Undy, who's bobbed up on the opposite flank now. Some good dribbling skills to work inside. Played a 1-2 with Schlenner, then flicked it over the top for Wadawa, who couldn't quite keep it in. Well done, the Nelson defence, getting up in their grills and just forcing the error.
Really seeing a lot of possession in midfield so far in this game. Probably still only really the one shot in anger so far in the day, but be expecting a little bit more as the cup wears on, because certainly know that Olympia can't sit back and defend it 1-0 down and damage control in the cup. There is really no difference between a 5-0 loss and a 1-0 loss.
Yep, that's cup football for you. I don't think they'll be too expansive too early in this one though. They'll try and hang on as long as they can, keep it at one goal. As this one chipped forward again, seized upon by Mearns. He ran into a little bit of trouble though. Gaskell away from him. Jackson picks it up. Flicked it back to the smooth criminal. Whips it down the middle of the pitch. Cole well off his line. Alert to the danger. Stalker heads it forward and eludes Mills. Hickey. Now Samet. Couldn't find Undy with that one. So Stalker is really just surprised. He's losing yards. I mean, isn't the thing with the throwing you steal 10 more yards than you generally get? He's gone the other way. I'm not sure he's quite alert to that one. You steal them. Don't play honestly. Go back. Take every yard you can get, son. This one's worked forward in the Mearns direction. Just buffeted it off
Nobody
the ball
likes
a bit
to see a cheater, Andrew, and perhaps he's equalising a little.
Because Wadawa's in behind. Lays it back for Schlenner. It's 2-0. Jacob Schlenner. That was all too easy. Undone it with that. And Schlenner puts it in. Keeper gets a piece of it. Couldn't keep it out. And 20 minutes in. It's looking like the Warriors just a cut above at the moment.
Yeah, certainly a brilliant ball into the box there from Wadawu, but just I'll have another look at this replay, but I do perhaps think that Jesus de Carpenter could have done a little better on this shot. There wasn't a lot of power behind it. He's covering his near post area quite well.
Yeah, he's got to have that.
Yeah, just looking more like Jesus on day 2 there, unfortunately.
Unfortunately so. So Schlenner has a brace, and the mountain might be on the bench, but there's a mountain on the pitch, and that's the one that Nelson have got to climb right now. Of course, they're in a bit of trouble there. The Warriors look very much switched on. They're driving forwards again, trying to kill this game off early. Nelson need to hold out here. He's a little bit soft. Lovely work from Wadawu in wide areas. He deep ground, this all ends up. He swings another one into Schlenner. 3-0. Rinse and repeat. The Warriors taking it a canter. Warren Wadawu to Jakob Schlenner. And the Czech striker has 3 in 20 minutes.
3 in 11 minutes almost, I dare say. That is just some really incredible stuff from Schlenner. He's just absolutely pounded that header into the net. No chance, unfortunately, this time for Jesus de Carpenter in the goals, but boy, isn't he carrying a threat today.
Yeah, no answers to him. I did think that maybe he'd just be a cut above Schlenner. Certainly no strikers like him getting around in the Southern Championship that Nelson have been playing against, and he is one of the best strikers I've seen in this state in some time, and he's been given space 3 times in this game and punished him on all 3 occasions.
Was that potentially a perfect hat-trick too already? He scored the first goal on his left. I believe he scored that one on his right. The second on his right, rather, and the third was a header. So just a brilliant all-round game here from Schlenner.
So where to now for Nelson? What do they do now? Down 3 goals. It's obviously going to be not impossible to win. Is it damage protection? Is it try and pick up a goal? It's going to be tough for them. They need to get through these next 20 minutes to half-time, really, so they can reassess things. It's going to be tough for them. It's Olympia looking like they could run up the score at the moment. Hickey works it across to Little. Here's Wadawu, 2 assists for him. They've just torn them apart down this side, and now they go down the other flank, searching ball for Schlenner. Stalker across, headed away.
I think the focus from here on out for Nelson will probably be enjoying themselves and perhaps getting a bit of experience out there against a really quality Olympia side that...
Oh, Schlenner beats Stalker, storms into the box, he's still going. Stalker kept on keeping on, then lost it again. Pinball the ground and eventually goes behind. Oh, Stalker lost it, won it, lost it, won it. And Schlenner probably should have just put his laces through that one, I reckon. Went for the team thing, the way he's going. I mean, putting that top window.
Yeah, he's perhaps got his belly filled just for the opening 23 minutes, so happy to be quite unselfish there from Schlenner.
I've never known a striker to have had enough goals. Never.
Nor have I, but he certainly dished that one off and he could have had a shot at it.
As Andy swings this one in, unconvincingly dealt with force of Vandermeer, who blasts it wide at the post.
Yeah, just looked to hit that one off his instep a little bit, unfortunately, but de Carpenter not quite dealing with that ball as well as he could have potentially.
Take the goal kick here. And what does Ethan Brighello do on the bench here? What's he got up his sleeve, master assistant coach?
Could have to bring himself on.
Yeah, he'd need a back to do that, so I think that's going to happen. But certainly...
Decent enough player in his youth.
Yeah, unfortunately a very injured player these days. He's one that I'd love to have on the park, but with his senior coach out there on the pitch at the moment, I wonder just where the instructions come from in this Nelson team. He's the business Altman. They need to restructure somehow. They need to find a way to deal with the threat of Schlenner. I'm not sure they've got a way to do it, to be completely honest, as Wadawu feeds it to Mearns.
Maybe if they had Park Ji-sung to man-mark him out of the game.
That is an obscure play to do it, but all right.
He did it to Messi, mate. He could do it to Schlenner.
Oh, look, David Carney did it to Messi when Argentina came to Australia. So
oh, Carney.
Sample size. As this one has worked into the middle for Shea Hickey. He swings it to Samet. Samet to Undy. Gets around Stalker. Mills comes back to help out. Mearns gets involved, did nicely. Still going is Undy. just making defenders miss, and then tried to slide it through, but didn't have the direction on his ball.
We've just seen since that first Olympia goal too, there's a bit of beautiful link-up play early on between O'Meara and Mills, but just seen absolutely none of that so far post the goal for this Nelson team, so really struggling to see how they'll respond, but they look to get O'Meara on the ball here. Just coolly done by the Olympia defence there.
Experienced customer at the back, Jake Vandermeer. A very reliable part of that defence for a number of seasons now. Here's Cole. Played it to Vandermeer. Vandermeer chips it forward. Stalker gets back. His header lands to Schlenner. He slides it back to Mearns. Mearns dwelling on the ball, brings Wadawa into play. Brownless is beating a couple of times here, and he looks to do so again. He jinks inside, he tilts the deck and draws the penalty.
Yeah, correct decision from the referee there. Quite a clumsy challenge, unfortunately, from...
No real need for it either.
I think it was Gaskell there.
And in the end, a chance now for 4-0. Wadawa is going to take this one himself. A bit of a soft one.
Geez,
there.
if I was Cole, I'd be pulling rank here.
Having a dip yourself.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think Walls, he set up a couple. He said, nah.
It's my turn.
It's absolutely my turn. So Warren Wadawa up against Jesus. And Warren Wadawa slides it to the back of the net. Inside half now, the Warriors have put this one to bed. It's 4-0. And they're doing it all too easily here. Did look a mismatch on paper. You never know with these cup games. Sometimes the plucky underdogs can hold out, but unfortunately for them, they've just not been able to deal with it.
Yeah, I certainly hoped so at the beginning of the game with the 1-0 tip to Nelson, but yeah, certainly mainly in hope there. Looking comprehensively outclassed by their Premier League opposition here today.
Well, at the end of the day, the Warriors currently sitting on top of the MPL. They were MPL champions just a season ago. They beat South Melbourne when they went over there in the end of season MPL final series. They're a top-class lineup, and Nelson have done tremendously well this season. They're building, but they were on the bottom of the championship last year, so both this year coming from very different places. But,
certainly... perhaps differences in resources for the two clubs, perhaps.
I think more than a perhaps on that one. Slightly.
You can certainly see in modern football how the resources can certainly help to get the results.
Yeah, money very much king in football these days. As Stalker wins that one away. Sent it forward, unfortunately. O'Meara can't get on the end of it. Here's Hickey. Back to Jack Callan. The business Auckland to Wadawa. Mearns breaking through the middle. He's picked out. He might just nod this one into the path of Schlenner. He tries to set it up for him, but just too far out ahead of him. And just looking very happy down on the bench is the dazzler Dale Hitchens, who's taken charge of this Warriors side today. And sure, in Queensland, will he have a job when he comes back? The Dazzler's got them just firing on all cylinders here at the moment. 4-0 up. He's very happy with the job he's doing, as this one's worked forward by the Italian stallion.
And they've certainly taken the opportunity to rest a couple of players here today, which we weren't entirely sure as the offside flag goes up here. Jackson hadn't quite noticed it.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's using some good strength there to get him behind the defence, but all for naught.
No, the flag was up very quickly there from our linesman out here on the near side. And the correct decision, I'd think.
There's some words coming from the referee here.
Geez, I certainly remember when I was at school, it was a bit more Adam Mills in the orange-shirted position and a bit more me getting the talking to.
I'm sure he'll have plenty of words to say at half-time. His team trailing 4-0. There's Hickey. Swings it to Samet. Undy. Mearns got nutmeg there. Brigello worked it to the smooth
lovely.
criminal. That was criminal on the smooth criminal. Hickey with a cynical foul and bringing him down there.
Jeez, I almost wanted the pity cheese there.
Pity cheese.
They deserved a break.
Some comfort food, perhaps. Nice rich slice of cheddar. This one's worked forward there to O'Meara. Sends it across to Gaskell in space. He's got time to pick out someone. He picked out Vandermeer, however. He might get another crack at it. Tried to beat Vandermeer, who was well awake to what he was doing. Undy lets it run. Burns straining the sinews to get there, and he does get there. And now he's off to the races, Burns. He flicks it inside to Schlenner. They'll combine here. Well worked back by Stalker. Does nicely to win the ball, and now the survivor Gaskell works it across to Brownless. Forward in the direction of Action Jackson. And it gets away and put behind for a throw in.
But yeah, as we were mentioning in the post-offside decision, just Olympia taking a few opportunities to rest a few players like Hill and Cartwright today. Not necessarily too needy here to play those superstars of the NPL.
Paul Stevens also getting a bit of a spell.
But it's certainly good to see them rotate and give those players who work just as hard in training as everyone else a go out there today. But it certainly hasn't shown any problems for them.
Yeah, some good young players underneath. We've seen Joel Samet come into the team with Conway's injury, and it shows that the depth in youngsters the Warriors have at the moment. And of course, Shea Hickey and chomping at the bit to get out there, no doubt. Here's Jackson looking to get him behind. Oh, he's got the better of Little here. He's all over him. Advantage allowed to run. But now the free kick scored. Good decision, because he was trying to have a nibble on his arm.
Yeah,
trying to rip it off.
Yeah, there was a few. There was more than a few little nibbles on the arm there, I think, and really good to see the ref play quite a long advantage in that decision.
Hang on, the offside
I think he's been
gone up.
flagged for offside. But unfortunate there for Nelson after a lovely little bit of play there from Jackson.
Yeah, very stiff. I thought he'd done quite well there. So Cole gets us going again. Vandermeer chips it forward for Undy. Now Stalker. Volley first time by Jackson. Callan gets on it, works it to Hickey. Stalker gets there, full-blooded ahead of Samet and kills it. And took a little touch off Samet, so really well done there by Stalker. He's been battling hard, the right fullback.
He certainly had his hands full today, but you can't fault his effort or his desire here. Slotted in nicely with his centre-back partner to just really interchange well when either one has to pressure the man on the ball. So I've been quite impressed with him.
A bit of an advantage there that Undy had worked.
Not too often that you say that the right back's having a decent enough game in a 4-0 drubbing after 30 minutes.
Samet works it to Undy. The business. Out to Little. The Warriors quite content just to strike it round the back in complete control of this one. And back now to the keeper. Samet looking to bomb on. The long diagonal might be on for the fullback. He's really pushed up here. They work in the middle. Schlenner dropping deep to get the ball. Surrounded by Nelson shirts.
You just mentioned to me in the pre-game too about how the size of this KG5 ground is really going to play into the hands of Olympia here today, and we've certainly seen this out here on the near side with Undy in particular and young Samut getting really close to the touchline, and it's really drawing the Nelson players out and creating that space on the inside that players like Schlenner have really used well.
Some lovely work from the Gaskell boys there, and they've worked it forwards looking for Jackson. Can he get goal side of Little? He does. Now he looks to put the shoulder down and charge. Just holding off Little and storming a rampaging bull there, Jackson. Just using his strength, but he's lost the battle in the end and broken up. Hickey turns back onto it. Now the business. Out to Samet. stroked the ball around very nicely today, the Warriors. Here's Huandi. Tight to the touchline. One back there by the survivor, sorry, O'Meara. He works in the middle for the Italian Stallion. And now Gaskell with a lovely ball for Mills. Wide on the right. Takes a moment to control it and wait for some support. Comes in the form of Stalker, who punched it to no one in particular. Seen away into the head of Undy. Now Gaskell. He was sold his teammate a little bit short there. And groundless, and it's Undy who chests it down. Goes back to the influential Warren Wadawu. Searching ball, looking for Schlenner, and again, straining to get there was Stalker, who slides in and puts it behind for a corner.
Yeah, love a little bit of skill there from young Angus O'Meara. Really working hard up there, the front three for Nelson, with particularly impressed by Jackson's work rate. Whenever he gets onto the ball, he's really willing to use his strength and hold off the opposition and try and create chances. As the ball is whipped in.
Ooh, headed just wide too. I think it's Tommy Little who won it. Puts it just wide of the post. Again, asking questions. Well, come on, the Knights boys walk past us down there. That's the next game on the agenda. What a cracker that will be. The Northie Knights taking on Devonport Strikers.
I really look forward to seeing the big Sherman tank in action in that one. And didn't he curl in a beautiful free kick the last time we saw him play?
Yeah, he did. They defeated the Lions on that particular evening. Slightly tougher ask against the defending champions later on, but that's coming out for you 3 p.m. As the goalkeeper's been relieved of his kicking in duties, which, given some of his distribution earlier, I think you can understand.
Not entirely sure after.
Here's Wadawu. Chips it in, takes the deflection. Smashed away.
Just see McKernan taking the goal kicks at the moment instead of Jesus de Carpenter, but he's done exactly the same thing that Jesus de Carpenter's done on his last 2 goal kicks and just picked out Wadawu.
Here's Schlenner turning in the middle. Gaskell across to deal with him. Now here's Jackson, who might just look to charge through the middle. He's surrounded by Warriors shirts here. Eventually numbers win out.
Really had an opportunity to play a nice through ball there for Mills, who was making a great run up the left hand side, but unfortunately he just didn't quite hear the shout from Mills out there.
The business switches the play to Little with a lovely ball. He's so good at that, just picking it up deep, switching the point of attack. Mearns making a run through the middle. Is he on the end of it? Not quite. This one's worked back to De Carpenter. The Italian Stallion to the survivor. And he chips it forward. Only Tommy Little out there. So we work towards half time. 4-0 the score. Game, for all intents and purposes, pretty much over. Unlikely you see 4 being fired in from Nelson. It'll certainly be a dramatic second half if we were to see it. At the moment,
you never know.
The Warriors looking in pretty...
Couple of red cards.
Schlenner's made a bursting run here, so too is Undy.
From Undy. He is onside. And brilliant cover there from Stalker to deny what would have been Schlenner's 4th.
Offside flag had gone up though, it would seem. I thought maybe it's against Schlenner, but I thought Undy told his run pretty well perfectly here. So I can only assume it was against Schlenner, but yeah, not sure about that one. Anyway, a relieving
I have no doubt that he's correct out there and that I am wrong.
I've got some doubts.
The mullet of infallibility.
This one will be taken by Isaac Carpenter. Chips it wide. Again, puts out a Warrior though. Undy getting in there ahead of Gaskell. Stalker takes it wide. Gets back inside. Nicely done there. Battling with Mearns and draws the free kick. The Warriors midfielder.
Mearns certainly didn't seem too happy about that decision. Yeah. That's a little bit of a shirt tug in there though.
Stalker thumps it long. Away by Samet. Now Hickey.
Quite impressed by Samet out here on the left here today. I haven't seen the young lad playing before, but he's certainly covering well and performing a nice little dual role here with Undy.
Yeah, he's an interesting one, Samet. He's come into the team for an injured Sam Conway, and such as his form been, it's going to be an interesting decision what to do when Conway's fit again. Do you maybe look to play him in a wing role? It's going to be very hard to drop Samet given the form he has displayed. He's really seized the opportunity. It was very good in the Anzac Day clash. It's fine opposition. Schlenner gets on the end of this one. Couple of numbers there to win it away. Brownless chipping it forward. Little will eventually control it and work it back to Callan. Return it to Little. Down the line, stretching for it. Schlenner just gets there.
Don't quite think that he planned that one, but nothing can go wrong for the man here today.
Yeah, he's having some sort of day, Jacob Schlenner. Little dueling there with Brigella.
Brilliantly done by Little.
Oh, one out nicely. Mills comes charging in to press Hickey. Chested down by Schlenner. Undy picks it up. Tried to return the pass. Well defended there at the back. Nelson able to see it away. Mills controls. Lays it back for Brigella. Makes it into the middle there. Well done by Callan to get in ahead of Jackson. Now sent wide for Stalker. Stalker chips down the middle. He had no one there though. Fortunately for Nelson, playing out from the back too often, they've just turned it over today. Wadawu. Hickey. Now the business, he's got Samet in space. Instead goes for Mearns in the middle. They'll defend it again though. Nelson getting plenty of bodies back. Samet eventually receives. And plays a lovely little 1-2 there with Schlenner. He's got a chance to look up now. Samet, he sends a teasing ball in, which is put just wide of the post by Undy. Lovely work there, Samet and Schlenner. This is the other thing Schlenner does so well. It's not just his goal scoring, the way he just drops in, links up and plays those 1-2s. He's such an asset to have. And Undy unable to send it in near post and score the fifth.
Really, really good chance there for Undy, but you would be thinking that a bloke like him would usually finish that, but unfortunately didn't quite get that one on target, but did well to beat the centre back to the ball. So we see big action Jackson potentially win the free kick, but nothing given there from the linesman. So Mearns just looking to play with Dawu with a brilliant diagonal ball.
Oh, finish it. That is sumptuous football. How's the diagonal? Picks out with Dawu, puts it on a platter for Schlenner. It's 5-0. That is glorious football from the Warriors.
And it just rendered me speechless. You could see you could see it coming a mile away. Just what a marvellous crossfield ball that was. Brilliant composure from Wadawu to just play that across the front of the goal for Schlenner to tap in for his fourth. And didn't he bust a lung to get in there too, Jacob Schlenner? Brilliant finish.
Well, he has 4. And they are absolutely flying here. The Olympia Warriors, they are smashing them. And Jacob Schlenner's having a day out up top. What a ball that was from Nick Mearns though. Just looked up, saw the open field in front of Wadawu, put it on a dime for him.
Yeah, we've seen Ben 10 already in the Lacquer Cup. Could we be seeing Schlenner 7?
Well, we could be seeing Schlenner 10 if he keeps going at this rate.
Exactly.
He jinks it back in. No, it wouldn't surprise me if he got an early bath. They had a heavy schedule. The game well and truly won. Such a key mover. We'll wait and see on that one though. Here's Joel Samet. Undy. Schlenner leaves it for Mearns. And well done in the end. All right, Gaskell to see it away from him. Did well there, the survivor. Helped them survive that attack. Wadawu turns with it, works it back for Mearns.
He's had a really good game out there with Dawu. Actually, his delivery into the box has been second to none on the pitch here today.
They've lost Gavin Hoy, the Warriors. Not that he was playing a prominent role, largely coming off the bench this season anyway, but the return of Wadawu will give them a real asset. And O'Meara draws the foul from Samet. We tick into first half stoppage time. Stalker short to Brigella. And in the back of Gaskell there was Wadawu.
In the back.
There was more than hands in the back. Have a look at Gaskell.
Quickly here to O'Mara.
Great defence there from Gaskell.
They get on the break.
Are on again. Schlenner wasn't where the pass was coming his way. He recovered it pretty well though with a fancy little back heel for Undy. I don't think Schlenner was expecting that one. And Alcock brings the first half to a close before further damage can be done. It's been pure domination from the Warriors. They have snuffed out any hope of a miraculous cup upset inside the first half here. Jakob Schlenner has 4. The Warriors lead 5-0, and you have to say it's definitely game over, Jake Morgan.
Yeah, and hasn't he been absolutely marvellous today there up in the front? Schlenner with 4 goals already. But it's not just been the work of Schlenner that I've been impressed with in this Olympia Warriors lineup. It's been the boys, Undy out there on the side, really combining well with his left back Samut, and in particular Wadawu out there on the right hand side has put in some brilliant balls in the box, and really think that Schlenner will be very happy with his teammates out there. Ortman and Mearns have really controlled the centre of the park too after this first 10 minutes or so. Just really grew into the game and deservedly 5-0 up at half time.
So we'll be back with the second half after a bit of a breather here, but all one-way traffic. I think the second half story will be, can Nelson get themselves a consolation goal, and can Schlenner score 70 goals in the game? That remains to be seen. It won't be 1-0. Nelson though they'll get a free kick there as Jackson's bundled over by Little. It's worked inside nicely here. Flick through. Jackson couldn't quite get there. Looked like they just unlocked the Olympia defence side. Oh, knocked it past Gaskell into Mearns in acres of space, who missed the return ball to Schlenner. It opened him up at the back.
Nobody likes to see cheater, Andrew, and perhaps he's equalising a little.
As Wadawu in behind, lays it back for Schlenner. And it's 2-0. Jakob Schlenner. That was all too easy. Undone it with that. And Schlenner puts it in. Keeper gets a piece of it out here. It was a little bit soft. Lovely work from Wadawu in wide areas. He deep ground, this all ends up. He swings another one into Schlenner. 3-0. Rinse and repeat. The Warriors doing it at a canter. Warren Wadawu to Jakob Schlenner. And the Czech striker has 3 in 20 minutes.
3 in 11 minutes almost, I dare say.
Walker storms into the box. He's still going. Stalker kept on keeping on. Then lost it again. Pinball the ground and eventually goes behind. Zundy swings this one in. Unconvincingly dealt with force of Vandermeer. Blasts it wide at the post. This is beating a couple of times here and he looks to do so again. He jinks inside. He tilts the deck and draws the penalty.
Yeah.
A couple, he said, nah.
It's my turn.
It's absolutely my turn. So Warren Wadawu up against Jesus. And Warren Wadawu slides into the back of the net. Inside half now, the Warriors have put this one to bed. It's 4-0. And they're doing it all too easily here. Did look a mismatch on paper. You never know with these. Mearns breaking through the middle. He's picked out. He might just nod this one into the path of Schlenner. He tries to set it up for him, but just too far out ahead of him. Rigello worked it to the smooth
lovely.
criminal. That was criminal on the smooth criminal. Hickey with a cynical foul. And bringing him down to O'Meara. Sends it across to Gaskell in space. He's got time to pick out someone. He picked out Vandermeer, however. He might get another. Hundy lets it run. Burns straining the sinews to get there, and he does get there. And now he's off to the races, Burns. He flicks it inside to Schlenner. They'll combine here. Well worked back by Stalker. That was nice. Got the better of Little here. He's all over him. Advantage to let it run. But now the free kick score. Good decision, because he was. Callan gets on it, works it to Hickey. Stalker gets there, full-blooded ahead of Samet and kills it. Not as little, he does. Now he looks to put the shoulder down and charge. Just holding off a little and storming a rampaging bull there, Jackson. Very nicely today, the Warriors. Here's Huundy. Tight to the touchline. One back there by the survivor, sorry, O'Meara. Schlenner's made a bursting run here, so too is Undy.
From Undy. He is onside. And brilliant cover there from Stork.
Samet eventually receives and plays a lovely little 1-2 there with Schlenner. He's got a chance to look up now. Samet, he sends a teasing ball in, which is put just wide of the post by Undy.
Play with Dawu with a brilliant diagonal ball.
Oh, finish it. That is sumptuous football. How's the diagonal? Picks out with Dawu, puts it on a platter for Schlenner. It's 5-0. That is glorious football from the Warriors.
And it just rendered me speechless. You could see it coming a mile away. Just
Undy. Schlenner leaves it for Mearns. And well done in the end. All right, Gaskell, he was playing a prominent role, largely coming off the bench this season anyway, but the return of Wadawu will give them a real asset. And O'Meara draws the... And in the back of Gaskell there was Wadawu. Pass was coming his way. He recovered it pretty well, though, with a fancy little back heel for Undy. I don't think Schlenner was expecting that one. So back for the second half here at KG5. Olympia Warriors 5-0. And a tragic correction we've got to make here, Jake Morgan. It's been brought to my attention that it's not actually Jesus in goals. The team sheet has utterly deceived us. It's actually Ollie Burden in goals. Now I can see a big number 30 on his back. We're facing that way. They've played funny buggers with the team sheet there. They've stitched us up and completely undone all our Jesus puns. I'm quite devastated by the whole thing. So our apologies to Jesus. And indeed to Mr. Burden, although given some of his distribution, he's probably fortunate that we weren't calling his name.
He's Jesus.
Jesus Burden. All right, we're going to roll
happened now. It's achieved a momentum of its own.
He's been resurrected as Oliver Burden.
Exactly.
So, can he keep them out
Jesus
here?
Burden.
Can he keep them out in the second half? Can he keep Schlenner out, who's already scored 4, looking very much in the mood as the Warriors kick off here with a 5-0 buffer. And I think they'll play with a fair bit of freedom in this second half. Nelson, well, they've just got to try and hang in there. Try and keep this score down a little bit. Hope they don't run up a cricket score on them, and maybe try and pinch one back the other way. Just a bit of a cup memory for whoever could score against the Warriors at KG5. I'm sure that'd be a good one to remember for years to come, but they're going to need to generate a bit more than they did in that first half. It's Tommy Little. Works it back. More Callan into the middle for the Biz. He gave it straight up to Mills. One back by Schlenner. Bergella coming through. Burns turns into the smooth criminal. Who thumps it forward straight down the throat of Shea Hickey. And he's dropped very deep there. Oh, fierce coming together out wide there. All deflects into the path of the O'Meara. Here's Mearns. Now Wadawu. On the first half he had. Scored 1, set up 3. You'd want him captain of your fantasy team, because this one's whipped forward looking for Van der May. And he goes back to Cole. Sun beating down here on KG5. Glorious day for this triple header. 2 more games to come. Glenorchy Knights taking on Devonport at 3 before the day ends with the Stripey Horses hosting Clarence United at 5:30. This one chipped forward by Hickey. Looking for a marauding Joel Samet, who's trying to get in behind Stalker here, who's defended his flank pretty well. He's got himself in a little bit of trouble here, but recovered well enough and works it forward. Oh, he's given away the free kick. Very stiff there, I reckon, Stalker. I thought he did quite well there.
Yeah, he's really using his body quite well to just shield off the marauding run of Samet, but perhaps just a little tug of the shirt that we couldn't perceive from
here,
far away from the
defended his flank.
Another opportunity here for Olympia to put another one on the board. So we see Little come forward. Certainly not the littlest player on the pitch.
Yes, by name, but certainly not in stature. It's the Devonport boys arriving behind these girls here. This one's swung in near post, headed away nicely. We'll come back at them through Hickey though. He's just coughed it straight back up. Amira received it from the survivor. Dueling in midfield there was Hickey. He gives away the free kick. Another statewide cup action in the women's. Launceston City 1-0 up over Olympia Warriors at the pick of the quarterfinals on the women's side of things. Caelan Fagan putting them ahead. We'll keep you updated with the rest of the games taking place around the state. Of course, the other Lakoseljac Cup quarterfinal sees Launceston City hosting South Hobart. City will be looking to change things up from what we called last Sunday, which was a real similar performance to this one, to be honest. Very much one-way traffic. That's back pass from Hickey, and cool as you like was Cole, and then Callan, very casual from the back, playing with fire with their eyes closed, but they did it well enough in the end.
I'm going to call that some calm stuff there from Olympia, but they certainly did invite the pressure on just there.
Pretty comfortable in this game, you'd imagine. Here's Van der May. Cross there to the Biz. Drops it back off. Warriors very much getting back into the pattern of controlling the ball. Complete command here as Van der May picks it up. Now the business. Back to Mearns.
studying this Nelson lineup right now quite intensely, because it just looks like they've potentially changed their formation a bit in this half. It looks like Mills has moved inside to play more of a midfield position, but as the offside flag goes up against Olympia, unfortunately. Looked quite close, that one.
Yeah, don't know about that one. Mercy
Certainly
rule.
don't have the benefit of the positioning of the linesman over there.
Yeah, look, I'm going the mercy rule there. It'll be taken by Jesus Burden. Actually, no, he's deferred. He has deferred.
Still furious about that team sheet.
Yeah, real stitch-up job that. They deserve a 5-0 deficit after that. And this one's worked forward. Mearns heads it into the middle. Here's Callan. Wadawu, who just ran his own race on that wing in the first half. Just absolutely dominating them. Here's Shea Hickey. Works it out wide to Tommy Little. Little in towards the biz, just used his body well, allowed it to flow through to Mearns, who changes the point of attack. Looking to slide it through for Samet. And it's killed out of play for a throw in. And Nelson structuring nicely in the first few minutes here. Kern dealing with that one. Now cutting inside and unleashing a shot, which is blocked. Brigella works it forward, looking for Miro, who's chucked that one down, hits the deck, quickly back to his feet.
As the mullet flows in beautiful sunshine out there on the right-hand side.
Brigella spills forward for Mills, couldn't get on the end of it. Vandermeer across to Tommy Little. The Warriors have just knocked the ball around nicely all day. Very comfortable in possession this side. Here's Schlen up. Dinks one forward, just pulled out the pitching wedge and played it to Undy. Undy to Hickey. Mearns turning cleverly. Now Tommy Little looking to charge forward as Little. He's got Wadawu in support. Fake the cross, came back, played it to Little. They've unlocked him at the back here. Little across. Hickey! Oh, good shot block there. Stalker getting in the way of it and denying what looked a certain goal.
And he would have loved to have gotten on the score sheet too, Shea Hickey, wouldn't he?
He would. Well, bit close range for Shea Hickey. He normally does his best work from about 35 yards out. As he'd certainly tell you if you asked him, as this one's worked forward in the Wadawu direction. Couldn't quite get on the end of that one. It's well done, Will Stalker. With the shot block there, they were unlocked once again by Wadawu down the flank. Stalker getting across. Dealt with it well.
Just seems to certainly be taking the shape that the game did from about the 10th minute in the first half.
Yep,
Well,
they've butchered it from the back to Schlenner, who pulls out the spin if you don't mind, then drives it the back of the net.
Oh my God, Jacob Schlenner, take a bow. What a way to score your 5th goal of the game. Absolutely alert to the poor goal kick, unfortunately. And just a little bit of trickery, and then a beautiful finish.
Oh, the turn, the finish. He's had 5 shots for 5 goals here, Schlenner.
And look at that.
He's just
How do you like it?
spun him around and then puts him in the corner. He's a cut above Jakob Schlenner. He has 5. It's 6-0. He has been scintillating today as the Czech striker. That's the old trick stick on FIFA. Just spin that and just did him all heads up.
And poor old Nicholas Roberts there, I've just seen after that trick's been pulled off, his head has gone on the 45-degree angle, and it's the 45-degree angle you do when you go, I have been comprehensively done here.
Yeah, absolutely done. All ends up there, unfortunately. That was very cleverly done. So, Gaskell plays it forward for Jackson. Mearns steps in his path and wins it away.
That's something that I really liked about Wadawu's game today, is that he's absolutely unafraid to track back and help out the team and launch attacks forwards. It's really, really helped his team out on the right.
Yeah, he's been superb with Dawu. Great to see him back in the Warriors lineup. Undy drives it forward looking for Schlenner. He's not done yet.
Not at all, I don't think.
This one's smashed forward in the Vandermeer direction.
Beautiful little drop kick there from Jesus Burden.
Better distribution that time. Was well and truly punished for the last one. And this one will roll over the byline and Cal can collect. So with Dawu, back to Callan. And he smashes it forward. Stalker tracks that one down. Lurking was Undy and then it's clear straight into his chest. So he keeps going, flicks it over the top cleverly. Mills got back, suspicions of a handball. Play goes on, he threads it through for Tommy Little. Little in plenty of space, just keeps it in. Centering ball, tucked home by guess who? There's 6. Well, Benny Hamlet's record might be in danger now. There is some intrigue.
Wowee.
And that's the 6th goal for Jacob Schlenner.
He is absolutely running right. That one
speechless again. He's just absolutely giving him a bath out there. And
just feel like the heads are dropping here from Nelson.
Just a little bit. But one thing that we have seen from Nelson is just a slight change in formation at the beginning of this second half, but it doesn't quite appear to be helping them out at this stage. We've seen Mills, the playing coach, move himself into central midfield and pushing Action Jackson out here to the left-hand side, which perhaps for me is not the correct decision to be made. He certainly ploughed the furrow well for Nelson up front today and worked very hard, but I suppose you do need to change something when you are in a situation like this. So
getting Tommy Little is just galloping up this right-hand side for the Warriors and getting him behind a couple of times. So we've got 34 minutes to go. Schlenner has 6. He's got 4 to go if he wants to catch Ben 10. And he might have just the shortest cup record you'll ever see. That's the intrigue that's left now in this one. Here is Schlenner. Flicked it back beautifully for Hickey, and he's going to chase after this one. Schlenner gets there second, and it's put behind before he can do further damage. It has been the Jacob Schlenner show as Tom Bellini looking like he's about to be introduced soon for the Warriors. So Wadawu throws for Hickey. Smash behind. It's been a mismatch today, but as we touched on, the financial power of the respective clubs, it's probably no shock. They've done it very well to get here. As we go, just reminds us of our tips. 1-0 Nelson. Yours, Jake? I clearly meant
I did go by the nickname Facetious Morgan at school for a period, so don't think you want to take that one too seriously, boys.
I clearly meant the halftime 5-0, as this one's worked forward to Samet. Chips it in for Undy. And he's just been turning all around the place. He's given this one straight up to Mills, though. And towards Jackson. Gaskell shields it from Mearns. He's surrounded by Warriors here. They're hunting in packs, and Hickey spreads it out with a lovely ball for Wadawu. Feeds it to Schlenner. First time release back to Wadawu. Centering ball and tapped home by Undy. And it is 8. And they are running up the score now. It's a pretty sorry old Nelson side out there now. They're being torn apart by Warren Wadawu. And this time Undy gets in behind and taps home and gets in on the act. 8-0.
I'll tell you what, I think it's time to bring on to Carpenter because they're certainly going to need a miracle here.
Well, they're going to bring on somebody. We've got Troy Hoppett coming on here, and he's going to replace Nicholas Roberts. So a change at the back being made, which given they've leaked 8.
I think Nicholas Roberts is finding it hard to see out there because he's certainly got the image of Jacob Schlenner's little turn burned into his retinas.
Pretty tough ask for this Nelson defence. There's not too many Jacob Schlenners going around the Southern Championship, you've got to say. I don't think there's anyone else like him in the state. Maybe Matty Sanders, but For mine, he's the best player in the competition, Sklenner, and he's really cashed in today. As Bellini preparing to be introduced. Don't you dare take Sklenner off, Hitchens. I won't have this. Better not be resting him. I want to see if he can get 10. As this one is worked forward by Mearns. Wadawu out there on the right. What a day he's had. Just run the wing, and this one's chipped into the path of Tommy Little. He won't track that down though. Behind it goes for a goal kick.
I think you might be upset here, Cooling.
He's
They've
done
it.
Hitchens, what are you doing? Bring Shaw back. I'm not having it.
Nah, come on.
Nah, what a performance that is. But receiving a round of applause as he should. Jacob Sklenner, 60 minutes of pure domination. 6 goals. The crowd warmly appreciating that display.
And he has certainly earned that early rest. I can certainly understand it from the coach. You wouldn't want to risk an injury to a star player like this.
Oh, it makes complete and utter sense.
Makes complete sense. But we did want to see 12 goals from Sklenner here today, so a bit disappointed, but sensible coaching.
Yeah. As this one's worked forward. Hickey on the ball. Gaskell plays it across. Now Stalker on the ball. I reckon Nelson here have just got to set themselves, try and keep it under 10. Set themselves little goals here. Vandermeer now charging forwards, the big centre-back looking to get involved. Sensing a chance to fill his boots perhaps. Free kick.
The interesting thing that we see from Olympia here now is whether or not they're disciplined and stick to their shape, or whether there's a few players out there who feel that today might be their chance to get on the score sheet who don't usually, but I'm suspecting a little bit more of the latter from Olympia here today, which should entertain.
They've certainly not taken the foot off the accelerator in this second half, that's for sure. Extending their lead to 8.
No, but the Laka Cup is not Sunday Junior League. There's certainly no questions about running up the score in here.
Well, I don't know if you've looked at the junior results lately, mate, but there's been plenty of running up the scores there as this one is picked up by the business in the bullseye.
Tell that to those parents in Melbourne, mate.
As he works it forward. Stalker chips it to the smooth criminal. And he plays a lovely ball down the channel, striding to get after it, but unable to track it down in time. Zamira. As we go working the block points out to be Nelson, haven't quite generated the shot yet. Well, there's something they can try and do. The Warriors have been in complete and utter control of this one. Hickey works it to Wadawu. Brigella does well to body up with him, but Wadawu charges off with it. Back to Mearns. Little looking to make inroads down the right again. And he'll get on the end of this. Wadawu leaves it for him. He centres it. And broken up by the Italian stallion. Oh, lovely little layoff there from the smooth
Cole's
criminal.
well off his line here. The halfway shot is on, but fortunately Jackson can't quite work his way through.
Undy nearly released by Vandermeer there.
Cole is looking like a man who is feeling at fine leg here today. He has not looked very busy.
Yeah, he's been a virtual spectator throughout this one. As score update half time in the Women's Statewide Cup, 2-2 between Launceston City and Olympia, shaping as an entertaining affair. Tommy Little picks the ball up on the right, plays it into Wadawu. Back to Mearns. Nelson just camping back in their own end here, just hoping to survive this onslaught, not leaking too many more. Driving at them is Undy. He's got round one. Well recovered and puts it behind for the corner.
Yeah, nice little intervention there from Stalker, and he certainly hasn't stopped trying all day today. This is another opportunity for Olympia to get on the scoreboard. See players like Tommy Little again moving into the box.
Oh, look at those stats there. Not making particularly good viewing for the Nelson boys. This one is swung in, headed away. Shea Hickey heads it and then wins his own header. Get out of there, only in the direction of Samet.
Well, I dare say that there's some pay packet differences between the Olympia boys and the Nelson boys.
Yeah,
have a hit. Have a hit, lad. He's well off his line.
He's just going to drive at them instead. And the moment passed. Should have had a hit. Why not? Just drove at the business instead. No, I think what most of the Nelson boys paying Reggie would probably be a game fee for most of the Warriors players. So, as we've said, there is a disparity. Not entirely unexpected. But they'll always have that victory over Northern Rangers travelling up their own meeting and NPL side. So, they'll be pretty content. If you offered Nelson that at the start of the season, dare say they would have taken it, even if it has ended in a rather disappointing performance here today, as Tommy Bellini comes on and just sways his way through a couple of them, jinks inside.
Oh, 4 of them even.
And eventually decides, I'll just lay that one off for Samet. Nothing on I like. And Samet.
No real rush.
Back to Bellini, he takes the tumble. It's a smooth criminal, just gets in his back there. Here's Tommy Little. He's working out there to Adawu. Little again. Just trying to knock it on for himself. Burden picked that one up.
Rudella just taking possession in the centre there for Nelson. Mills, who's potentially dropped back into a centre-back role at the moment, the playing coach. He's played everywhere today.
It's the game just slowing down somewhat. This
certainly
chested down by Bellini. Good save by Burden, puts it behind. Took it down, took the shot. Smooth work from Bellini.
Well, they might have named De Carpenter Jesus on the score sheet, but certainly a good save there from Burden.
Shea Hickey offering short, and Wadawu obliges, plays it back to him. Sends it up to the top of the box. Mearns is very casual from Olympia. They know they've got the result they want. They work it out to Wadawu. Wadawu chips in near post. Oh, Tommy Little almost directing at Garwood. Just off target. Now perhaps a chance on the counter for Nelson. Set out in front of Jackson, just a bit too far ahead. The business was there just to shut that one down.
Yeah, they're certainly unafraid of leaving the space in behind here, Olympia, which I certainly like, because it certainly makes the game a little bit better for the fans. With an 8-0 lead, I don't think they would be too worried about conceding. They're pretty comfortably through here in the Laka Cup, but might give a few more goals the opportunity to flow through in the game here today.
Well, the fans are about to get rewarded. Absolutely, they're going to enjoy this when the lettuce farmer gets introduced in a couple of minutes' time. Cult hero, the Warriors, Nick Meredith, and the lettuce farmer set to come on. Haven't seen him this season.
What's the origin of that nickname? Does the bloke actually farm lettuces?
He farms lettuces, mate.
Well, there you go.
There's a little charges forward. Good little story in the Mercury about that a while ago. It's Wadawu threading it and knocked behind.
Pretty cool customer, a bit of an iceberg about him.
Yeah, very much so.
Crispy player.
Crisp passing.
Yeah.
And he'll be introduced here and replace the business.
I would love a chance to talk lettuce with him.
I'm sure he'd be happy to oblige. And on comes Meredith for Ortman.
On comes Nick Meredith off Mark Ortman.
There's a change also being worried for Nelson.
Mark Ortman was certainly understated but efficient today, I think. He knocked the ball around well in the centre of the park and gets a big pat on the back from his coach there for a solid effort out there today. One of those quietly efficient players.
So another sub has been made here by Nelson. Coming on, Brad Knott for Connor Brownless. So perhaps just giving a youngster a bit of a run out here in the final 20 minutes. Can he come on and get a consolation marker? He needs something to take out of this one. Hits the deck there and nearly lets in Undy, and that one's eluded him and snuck out of play. Ladawi with the throw into the lettuce farmer. Crisp pass. Lays it back. Bellini turning and shooting and palmed up in the air by Burden, who almost sees his follow-up. Dodged in there by the lettuce farmer, but he just about dealt with it to Burden. And this one's worked forward.
Do potentially think he could have gone the catch on that one.
Yeah, probably would have been the play, but he's kept the goal out at least. Here's Samet. Wide to Bellini. Always an eye-catching player, Tommy Bellini. Very busy making things happen.
Lovely little back heel.
Samet to the back stick. And it's headed behind for a corner. Which Wadawa will take.
I was certainly thinking that Bellini would play the pass across to Wadawa, who was in acres of space on the right-hand side, but brilliant awareness to just tuck the ball back for Samut there.
If there's a fancier and more difficult pass to play, Bellini will opt for it. He's ever the showman, as this one swung to the back post. Picked up and chips it in. Burden deals with that one.
Cheeky little attempt there. I'm very positive he wasn't trying to cross that one.
He's trying to dink it in as Action Jackson striding forward. Still going.
He's got to play it out wide here.
Surrounded by Warriors. They need to spread it wide. Eventually they do. Nodded on back into the path of Jackson. Chests it down. But Van der May did well. Just got across. Snuffed out that one. Well, they've won it back here, have Nelson.
And Storker's won himself a corner there. Have a little play from the right back to win the ball high up the pitch.
Kitchen sink. Come on, boys. Try and get one on the score sheet.
Everybody in.
Everyone. Keeper, get up. 8-0, 9-0, who cares?
Bring a 12th on.
8-1. There's a difference there. You want one in your own column. So, can Nelson conjure something from this set piece? Not with delivery like that, they can't. It's gone straight to Nick Mearns, and the lettuce farmer is off. He's charging. He's got Undy and Bellini in the middle. He opted for Bellini, threading it through for Undy. He can turn and feed the lettuce farmer. And Meredith gets onto the right, and his shot is blocked. It might fall into the path of Bellini if he can control it. Seen away from him. And the Nelson defence conspire to whack it away.
What control and passing there from Hugh Undy in the lead up to this little opportunity there from Bellini, but really impressed by that turn and the pace at which Olympia countered there. Certainly not done here today.
As Bellini, as the bear of a defender, sends it in, blocked away. The follow-up hit it first time, Samet. Takes a touch and then puts it over the bar. Did the composed thing. I would have liked to see him just give that one a roast. Just thump it.
Yeah, I think people will forgive their left back for having a roast when it's 8-0 up.
Mind you, he had the time. He set himself quite well in the end. Just didn't quite.
Just leaning back a little bit. Certainly didn't get his body over that shot.
So another sub in the offing for Nelson.
Young Angus O'Meara comes off. He's worked hard up there today.
And Nathan Wardle will replace him. So Nelson just using the full complement of subs. Just get as many involved in this day as they can. Get some fresh legs out there and maybe try and steal something on the counter-attack here. Get that consolation goal. Regella picks this one up. A smooth criminal with a smooth little pass. Chasing after his own ball was not. That's a rather ugly up and under there from Cole. That's in Jackson.
Almost think he's a player who isn't quite warm down there, Jacob Cole.
He's been pretty much a spectator today, has Cole. Mearns weaving his way through the middle. Got it to Hickey. Hickey to Samet. He charges forward. Mulaney dwelling on it. Lays it back to Hickey.
It's a lone seagull flies over the ground, and you know what that means.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't know if that applies to KG5 though. So the rest of the world doesn't have a clue what's going on here, but picked up by Burden. They work it wide on the right, and the Sting well and truly out of this one now.
Yeah.
It's really going through the
talking about
motions.
the seagulls.
Really going through the motions now.
Just been quite interesting too in this second half how fluid this Olympia lineup has been. I've been trying to analyse at times where certain players have been playing, but at various points throughout this half I've seen Mills playing as a defensive midfielder, left back, at point centre back, and it looks like he's gone back left as Hugh Undy just streaks in. And what a tiny little finish into that corner right when we were thinking that the Sting's going out of the game.
Well,
lovely little jinking run.
Yeah, speed of defender all ends up, slides it through, and makes it 9-0. Double fingers could well be on the cards here. And Undy just did hop it, all ends up there, and then slid it with the outside of the boot, coolly into the bottom corner. Nicely done from Hugh Undy, a man in fine form. He's having quite the season, and Nelson have not had the answers to deal with his fleet footwork today.
Yeah, just certainly looking more like Undy's the player who's been brought on late into this game in that situation rather than Hoppet. Certainly showing his pace and turn well to beat him, but fine little finish into the corner of the net.
So that one goes out of play.
It's the mullet glows.
Here's Vandermeer. Switches it to Mearns, who just left it behind. Tommy Little drives inside, then works it to the lettuce farmer, off to Undy. Oh, he's got Bellini and acres of space wide. He'll feed it to him. And then slides it in. Offside was the lettuce farmer anyways. Udawi puts it into the side netting.
Oh, he's certainly working hard to get on the end of that one, the lettuce farmer. Yeah, good decision from the linesman there. He's probably just strayed a body or two offside there.
This one's chipped forward in the Jackson direction. He's battled hard.
He really has.
Up top.
With limited service and limited supply and limited support, I have to say he's probably been their best player.
Yeah, I'd agree with that sentiment. This one's chipped over the top. Undy sneaks in behind and makes it 10. Well, a mix up between defender and goalie. Just sliding on between them as Undy. He's filling his boots. He's got another one. And it's 10-0. A third of the day. A hattie for Hugh Undy. This was just all too easy. Chipped over the top. Defender misjudges it. Keeper comes out. No man's land. And Undy says, thank you very much. I've got 3.
Yeah, poor old Tom McKernan down there in the centre of defence for the Nelson team has been under all sorts of pressure here today. Been put on goal-kicking duties at various points, dealing with constant pressure from Undy, Glenna, Wadawu, amongst others. It's just really been quite an extraordinary performance from the Olympia boys.
Here's Nick Mearns. Threads it through. The lettuce farmer straining to get on the end of this one. He does track it down. Later across to Tommy Little, who's spent most of this half just parked in that corner. Forget defending. Here's with Darwood. Centering ball for Hickey. He'll fire for shot here. Surely. He does. Oh, just over the top. As soon as it came to him, he knew there'd be one thing on his mind. No PlayStation to win in the Laka Cup though, Shay.
Yeah.
But still.
Didn't quite sit right for him, unfortunately, and he didn't quite connect with it, but it actually was not far away from creeping into that far right post.
Yeah, not too far away from dipping in there. And he just bustles over the defender here and infringes upon him. We have another look at Hickey. Just set the volley and cracked it. That's not far away at all. Just swerved. He does get the ball to talk. So the smooth criminal chips it forward. Straight to Tom Little though. Now Jacob Kell.
Wadawu makes a run up the right-hand side here, but ignored by Mearns, who plays a little 1-2 with Little. Looks to the lettuce farmer with another 1-2, and then plays it out wide to Hugh Undy, who's really taken over the attacking threat. Oh no, rather Bellini. With the two of them really taking over the attacking threat after Jacob Schglen has been brought off. Ball's thrown into Shea Hickey. Looks across to Samut. Controls it well in front of two. Ball goes back to Vandermeer, who looks to give Cole possibly his third or fourth touch of the day. Ball gets passed out here to the right-hand side with Little. Looks to play in behind the lettuce farmer, who's made a brilliant run and stayed on side, but nothing doing from either the linesman or the referee there, just potentially calling it a bit of a coming together. Stalker gets things going again for Nelson, who looked to counter quickly, but just a poor touch there, unfortunately, from potentially Nicholas Roberts.
Cole swings it across to Tommy Little. Into Undy. Just turns and he's got an eternity on the ball. Lays it back for Hickey. A few tired Nelson bodies out there now, I think. They've been chasing shadows for a large part of this game. Here's Vandermeer. Back to Hickey. Hickey swings it across to Tommy Little. Mearns. Just chips it in the middle there, away. Now Gaskell. Work it wide. Mearns picks it back up, jinks inside. Broken up by Gaskell. And Stalker comes in. And they've done well to win it away. Now can they find something on the counter? I think Big Jackson's petrol ticket's looking a little bit spent there. He wasn't making the charging run. He might have earlier in the game. Brigella. Back to the smooth criminal. Moving smoothly through the middle of KG5. And that was developing into some nice play, but they've rather ruined it with an aimless ball wide.
Little smell on the air at the moment makes me glad that Rex Hunt isn't here commentating with us.
Geez, she'd be on it for young and old.
Certainly would be.
And a bit of cigarette fumes going up here. He wouldn't have a bar of that one.
No.
Check that out on YouTube if you haven't. I highly recommend that one. Rex Hunt versus the Smoker as Wadawu charges into the box. Lays it back at the lettuce farmer. Makes it 11. He's come on and works it in off the post. Wadawu with yet another assist. Another goal from this right wing. And it's 11-0.
And Wadawu's assisting today has made me really glad that they let the bloke take the penalty, because he has been putting it on a plate for the boys here today, as Meredith finishes beautifully up into that top corner. No chance for the keeper there, no chance at all. And the lettuce farmer gets on the score sheet too, to bring it up to 11-0 here today for Olympia.
Now I suppose the added wrinkle, South Hobart with a 12-0 win over Launceston United. Can that be caught by Olympia?
It can.
Well, they're going. There's no mercy rule here. They are going for the throat repeatedly. Well, truly after the corpse has expired as this one's worked back. Broken up. The lettuce farmer seizes on that one. Can he get to it? Worked away from him only as far as Undy. Back to Mearns. Searching for Wadawu. Controls it nicely. Links it back in. A lovely little flick. No one was in the middle of the box though. And away it goes. Here is Little. Wadawu. Back to Little again down this right-hand side. Not particularly well dealt with, but the second crack they clear the area. Now charging through his Undy. Laid it off for the lettuce farmer, returned the ball, and Gaskell sends it up. Oh, not dealt with at all by the keeper. He's got the big forehand. You're goalkeeping, not playing tennis. And that one goes behind for a corner. Strange decision, that one. Confidence, I think, down, given the score. Oh, he's lost it in the sun. Looking at the replay, he's not seen that one until it's come down late. Unlucky, that's not 12. Yeah, the replay, he's lost that one in the sun.
Look, I don't like to be too critical in the commentary box, but really unsure of what he's going for there.
Yeah, the hat might be the option. There's Wadawu. He has to swing it in again. He drills a low one to the top of the box and Mertz. Well, that was
it's got snow on it.
It's just got over the line in the end. Goal kick. Really stayed in. Fair to say, not his best
trying to go the field goal rugby style there, unfortunately. But really got underneath that one.
He went any further back on it, he'd have hit the deck. This one is flicked on.
Showing his limbo skills, perhaps.
Something like that. Picked up by Action Jackson. Is that a shot, Wigo?
That's a shot. That is a shot.
Wigo's working the block. We'll say
that is a shot. He was trying to hit that over the top of him, Wigo, and that is a shot on target.
Oh, he's claiming through ball.
Oh, through ball to who?
Well, he's a harsh judge, how we go. Working the block, but he's not giving it to them. There's little charges forward. Works it to Wadawu. They're not done yet, the Warriors. Wadawu is having a field day out there, and he might just be eyeing off another one. Meredith couldn't pick him out in the return ball. Regella works it wide. They work it around the back here, Nelson, but they've turned it over again. Hickey and Mearns in midfield pick it back up for the Warriors. Now Samet. Meredith sliding in there to see it away from Bellini. I wonder how much out of time the ref goes. Does he just enact the mercy rule with it?
There's been a lot of stoppages throughout the game. Certainly no injury breaks or the like. So could certainly be his decision. Little whips in.
Let us Farmer. Oh, just over the top. Really out of breaks there, Meredith.
Yeah, looking a bit more like beat leaves there than lettuce, unfortunately.
Yeah, good for nothing that.
Yeah.
Just over the top. It's too far away, and he's allowed acres of space. The head's definitely dropped now for Nelson. Here's Undy. Jigs back inside. Back to Mearns.
Almost wouldn't mind a few shots of Wigo's reactions here as the errors increase late in this game.
Bit of Wigo cam.
Yeah. Danger cam can be a thing, I reckon Wigo cam can.
In the middle is Hickey. The bullseye, searching ball for Tommy Little, who's made a great run. He's picked him out again.
Go yourself, son.
Lays it off for the lettuce farmer, who slides it in for his second and number 12. And really, this is just a training run at the moment. The Nelson defenders out on their legs, just looking like witches' hats. They're being walked past, and that makes it 12.
Yeah, look, I certainly wouldn't have the fitness to cope with some of these Olympia players, but it certainly seems that a couple of these defensive players for Nelson are feeling as tired as I would be out there today.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to lie, I'd blow up after 10 minutes, but that's why I'm not a player.
That's why we do commentary, Andrew.
Absolutely. 12,
we talk, we don't do.
12-0. This is an absolute shellacking. And Meredith comes off the bench and helps himself to a brace. And again, on this right-hand side, they've had some serious joy getting him behind down this flank. Tommy Little and Warren Wadawu.
We're just seeing Lettuce Farmer and Mearns both be sent back behind the halfway line before kick-off there. They're really keen to get another goal.
Well, 13 is Jackson. Stormy hit it. Not quite. Wadawu will pick this one up. On Wadawu. Into the middle for Undy. Switches the play to Samet. Storming forward. I think we're seeing the benefits of starting pre-season in December. They're running out game just slightly better than their opposition here. Turning is Bellini. And foul spotted. So this, of course, the first of 3 games coming away from KG5. I think the next one might be a little bit closer. Glenorchy Knights hosting Devonport. It's going to be An absolute cracker of a game, that one.
Really looking forward to that one. Got to have a good look of Devonport last week as they used the hill to their advantage over at Wentworth Park to score 5 or 6 goals, I think it was, in the second half against Clarence. So certainly really looking forward to having a look at them and star players like Braden Mann.
The Knights certainly a dominant side in the Southern Championship with ambitions of winning this cup. This one's 3-3 broken up, and then after that the Tobart Zebras taking on Clarence. Oh, they've got 3 men everywhere at the moment. Undy was in Acres, didn't get picked out. Mills tracks back this time to see it away from Wadawu.
Just a little shout from the Olympia bench at Mearns there for not playing the pass through to Undy at 12-0. They're certainly looking to keep running up the score, that's for sure.
Oh, Dale Litchin's not resting on the laurels. He's just got them keep going at it, running up the score here. I suppose his managerial record is going to be looking pretty good in charge of the senior team. As Wadawu gets inside the box, saunters his way through into the back post, no one on hand. Rolls behind, and now Cook just enacts the mercy rule with 20 seconds of added time, and it ends 12-0 in favour of the Warriors. An absolute thumping. It was really over after about 20 minutes when Jacob Schlenner had helped himself to a perfect hat-trick.
As we just see Jacob Schlenner down there, and he's all smiles after getting 6 goals. Just going to wander out onto the pitch to shake a few hands, but marvellous performance from the Czech striker here.
Eventually they were just worn down as the contest wore on. Nelson, they can hold their heads high for getting to this stage. Not their best showing today, there's no doubt. They were well and truly outclassed on the day. But well
certainly
done on getting to this stage.
Richness in resources has paid dividends here for the Olympia team, coming up against a team that are largely playing match fees in the championship, so you can't fault their endeavour out here and their effort. Particularly impressed by the efforts of Jackson up front. He really worked hard to try and create some opportunities, dropped his shoulder well and made a few runs, but really lacking a bit of support. And William Stalker perhaps had a decent game out there on the right and could have been a little worse for them had he not intervened on a few crucial occasions. But yeah, certainly a few midfielders going missing out there for the Nelson boys.
Yeah, it was a pretty dominant display from the Warriors. Schlenner, Undy, just running the show. The lettuce farmer comes on and grabs the race. So that's all we've got from game number 1. We'll be back around about half an hour's time, a 3 o'clock kickoff for the next game, which is going to be an absolute humdinger. Knights taking on Devonport. Do join us for that one.
Have a beer first, mate. The commentary channel. At least they were right. Let's please.